All right, yo, what's going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another crazy story. So if you guys don't know, basically, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of old school. If you guys don't know, basically, I grew up watching The Hub. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm not gonna say because it's probably not for your age. But anyways, basically, what I'm saying is that we never had this thing called OnlyFans. So if you guys don't know what that is, basically, OnlyFans is just this thing that I'm actually not allowed to say because YouTube monetization. So yay, not gonna get into that. But you guys can kind of guess what it is if you guys are part of this generation. Anyways, me finding out about OnlyFans was one of the most weirdest things ever in the world. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, it was the weirdest experience, and I'm gonna be saying it today. So it all starts off back in high school. So I want to say this was probably my grade 11 year. I had no idea what OnlyFans was. I thought it was literally just this thing that YouTubers had to express their fan base. Like, I thought it was like some kind of membership program in some way, which is kind of weird because only girls used it at the time. But I never understood what it was until one day I remember a friend of mine came up to me saying he had a girlfriend. So if you guys don't know, basically, I remember my friend walking up to me saying how he had like a brand new girlfriend and she was outstanding and she was amazing. She was just a great person in general. And I'm not gonna lie, I did recognize his girlfriend at the time and I thought she was attractive as well. Like, she was a win-win scenario. But the weirdest thing about this girl is that this girl was loaded. And by loaded, I mean, like, every time my friend came up to us, he literally said like how they went for a really big fancy dinner and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, being at the age of 16 and getting fancy dinners and stuff was the most weirdest thing possible. It got to the point where we started making fun of him for having basically a sugar mama. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm not gonna get into that. So yeah, so we started making fun of him and basically just saying funny things to him until we realized something very odd. I remember me and my friends were all just chilling in the hallway, you know, hanging out, doing our own little thing, you know, talking about, I think, a game that was coming out. I wasn't sure what, to be honest, because I wasn't really fully paying attention until I saw his girlfriend walk up to him. His girlfriend walked up to him holding a giant box that was like wrapped in a fancy gift, and it wasn't his birthday, nothing. So we thought, oh, okay, here's some more sugar mama stuff coming in. And instantly when he opened it, we saw it was a brand new PlayStation, and it wasn't like a normal PlayStation. Like, this was like some like Destiny 2 super exclusive PlayStation that I always wanted. Like, it was so cool. So I remember asking him like, yo, like how'd you get this? Like, that's awesome. And all she said was that she knew a guy, which, you know, I guess was never good. But honestly, I remember me and my friends were all looking at each other and we just saw our friend super excited about getting his brand new cool exclusive PlayStation, and we're all just sitting there like, what the heck is going on? So then me and my friends were talking as he was like, you know, holding his PlayStation. We're like, so what does like your girlfriend exactly do for work? Because at first, I'm not gonna lie, we thought it was like, you know, her parents making the loads of money, but her parents were just basic teachers, which is really, really weird. Because I'm gonna be honest, teachers, I don't think make that much money. I'm gonna be brutally honest here. And I remember him saying, oh, like she has like some kind of like internet job. Like, I'm not really sure, to be honest, bro. Now that's where things got really iffy, because I know the internet, okay? And unless you're like doing some hardcore dealing, like there's no way you're making that much money to like be putting up PlayStations. And in my head, I was thinking, oh, maybe she has like a YouTube channel or something. I don't know. Like maybe she records videos for a living too. But then me and my friends really started questioning and thinking, what the heck does she do? So I remember one time we were all sitting in like math class and we were just like kind of like having a conversation, us, me and the boys, and we were thinking about following this girl. Now, as weird as enough, I would never advise doing this. Don't ever stalk women. It's not a thing to do. I don't advise it. I did it a couple of times in my lifetime and it's weird. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So me and my friends decided to, you know, kind of follow her and see what's going on. And we didn't tell this to my friend that was dating her because, you know, that would be really weird. So I remember we had like this group chat basically having a conversation what's going on. So one day after school, I remember we all got in our cars and we kind of like not followed the girl, but we kind of like, yeah, okay, no, I'm not gonna lie, we literally did follow the girl. I can't even lie to you guys. So we followed her and we realized that all she did was stay home, and we were literally like parked like 2 blocks away from her place, sitting there for like hours on end and nothing was happening. But then I realized, like, my friend called me. He's like, yo, like, what are you guys doing today? Let's all hang out. And this was the guy that was dating the girl, and we were all like really awkward looking around each other. We're like, nothing, we're just hanging out doing stuff. Yeah, I don't know, it was a weird situation. But anyways, I remember we all like decided to just pack up our things and go home, and we're like, screw it, like, we're not doing this again. This was a dumb idea. Like, why are we following a chick that maybe just makes bucket loads just from doing some internet YouTube thing? So like I said before, our first guess was like she did something on the internet. I want to say like a week went by after that whole situation, and we kind of just left it aside until we realized that she like promoted something on her Instagram, and it was a thing called OnlyFans. And at this time, remember, my buddy and his girlfriend were having like kind of like issues. They didn't break up or anything, but they were having issues at the time. So clearly it was none of my business to really like say anything. But I remember his girlfriend was like promoting this thing called OnlyFans. Now, like, again, I said I had no idea what it was or what it is in general. But then I realized like my friend came up to me and he said, yo, like something's really off with my girlfriend. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, she's hiding something from me and I know it. Can you go talk to her, please? Like, I'm confused. And I'm like, okay, like, sure. Like, you know what? Like, fine. I'll go talk to her because she's hot and like, you know, I like might as well go say something to her. So I remember I walked up to her and I'm like, hey, so I heard like you and, you know, my friend were having some issues. Like, is everything all right between you guys? How's the relationship? And then she said, oh, he doesn't like what I do for work. And in my head, I'm thinking, wait, why would he have a problem with that? Because you literally gave this man a brand new console and you're telling me that he doesn't like what you do for work and you can afford giving him what? Like, it didn't make any sense whatsoever in my mindset. And I asked her, so like, what do you do? She said, oh, like, I like post photos on the internet and people pay them. Now in my mind, I was thinking, damn, that's a sick job. Like, I want people to pay for my photos. Like, you're like a model basically. And I remember saying to her, oh, so you're like basically a supermodel. And then she said, kinda, yeah, we could say that. Instantly when she said that, I instantly had like some really iffy moments. Like, I had that sick feeling in my stomach. Like, wait a minute, like, does she like do stuff on the hub? Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a weird situation. And then I asked her like, yo, can you give me an example of what you do? Now this is where things got really awkward because she instantly pulled out her phone. She literally showed me a photo of her on her, like, you know, OnlyFans. And you guys know what those photos are like. Let's just say she was literally naked in the photo. And she literally said, oh, like, this is what I do. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. What? So you're basically like a star, like a naked star? Like, is that what I'm saying here? She instantly started laughing and saying like, no, like, I just do this for like work and stuff. Like, people like pay for my photos. Like, let's just say my mind didn't register at the time. Cause I'm gonna be honest, it was like something I literally just learned and it just came out of the blue. So I remember walking back up to my friend, I'm like, bro, like, honestly, if you're not comfortable with what she does, then I guess just end things with her. Like, that's probably the best thing to do. And he started like looking down all sad and everything. He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not comfortable with it, bro. Like, I can't handle it. And he left. And then instantly, like, after that situation happened, she started hitting me up. And I'm gonna be honest, like, it's not like I have no problem with girls doing OnlyFans whatsoever, but it's just not my type of thing. Like, I don't know, it's something weird about me. I'm probably old school like that. But anyways, yeah, basically guys, that's how I figured out like what OnlyFans was and all that. It was the most weirdest situation. I'm gonna be honest, it was a funny story. Yeah, honestly, like I said again, guys, like, I'm not promoting anything when it comes to these storylines with, you know, doing the devil's tango or doing any sort of online nudity or anything like that. Guys, I try to be as PG as possible throughout my videos. All right, yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to another really insane story. So today's story is honestly something that happened to me back when I was in grade 10. It was one of the most insane moments of my life, and I'm not gonna lie, it'll forever be memorable. And it all starts off when I was walking to my most hated class, math class. Now, I personally hate math class. Math class is the most annoying and boring and, well, suckiest thing on the planet. But knowing I had to do it, I remember one time I was going to my math class a bit early before school because I got in trouble for not passing my last test and I needed to retake it. And I wanted to do it before school because after school was the only time I had to go spend time with the ladies. Because, you know, to do the devil's tango. So I remember I ended up going to my class early, and when I entered into the classroom, I remember seeing my teacher that was actually very attractive, and luckily one of the only reasons why I actually smiled going into math class. If you guys don't know, in grade 10, I had actually the hottest math teacher ever. Like, for the grade 10s, only a certain amount of people were able to get this math teacher, and luckily I got put into her class, which was honestly amazing. And I remember every time I go into class, it was a sensation. I would stare at her cherries, stare at her amazing peach when she would write on the board, and when she sat down, that's where disaster began and I started looking at numbers. But that's not the point of the story. Going on, I remember when I went in early for this test I had to do, I was basically kind of stressed out. But before I entered into the classroom, out of nowhere, this guy ended up walking out. It was some weird guy with a camera, and he looked really sketchy. I didn't know who he was, so I remember I looked at him like, are you a student here? He looked at me, he's like, oh no, sorry, I just work on a side gig with your teacher. Sorry, I gotta go. And he ended up leaving. I didn't know who he was, but honestly, he was really sneaky and really awkward. But I remember I went inside the classroom, and my teacher was buttoning up her shirt, and I ended up walking up to her just doing the whole test. Now, reminder, the guy that left earlier was a guy with a camera, so I obviously did have to ask her, hey, teach, who was that guy out there? Like, he just kind of went out kind of awkwardly. The teacher looks at me and says, oh, like, just don't worry about him. He's just a guy I work with for a little side project I'm working on for the school. Okay. And I ended up going to sit down and doing my test. Now, I found it really weird how she kind of hesitated when she was saying the word school, but I mean, it is what it is. Honestly, I never really questioned my teachers because school sucks in general, so why would I? Going on with the story, I remember after that school day, I ended up going home and I was playing Xbox with the boys. Me and the boys would always hop on Xbox, playing video games and doing the same old, same old. And also, the girl that I was supposed to go do the Devil's Tango with canceled on me. Yeah, sucks. But going on, I remember when me and the boys were playing Search and Destroy on Call of Duty, my buddy ends up saying over the Xbox mic, yo, Bubba, you know you're really hot like math teacher? Yeah, what about her? Dude, her first name is... Did you know that? Like, literally, look at her name in the yearbook. I remember I ended up going to my bookshelf and ended up pulling out the yearbook that was given to me last year, and I ended up seeing her first name. Her first name was a very similar name compared to everyone else, and at first I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, and basically went back to playing Call of Duty. But then afterwards, my other buddy that was also in the Xbox party ended up getting his yearbook and said, yo, I'm not gonna lie, bro, her cherries look a lot bigger. Like, holy cow, dude. I remember I was like, wait, what? And I ended up going back to the yearbook, pulling it off the bookshelf, opening it to her page, and I looked closely. Her cherries looked like they grew 20 sizes bigger than usual. Now at this point I was shocked. I'm like, okay, that's very, very weird. And me and the boys laughed about it all night, and then when I was going to bed, well, that's when I got into deep thought. Now I don't know about you guys, but I have this thing called bedtime thoughts. Basically it's like shower thoughts, except you get your best ideas in bed. Probably that's why I never sleep and end up staying up all night thinking about what videos I want to do. But I remember when I was laying down in bed, I had the shower thought. I had the thought to search up my teacher's name since I had her full name fully and figure out who she actually was. Because there's no way a teacher is just a teacher. And at this point in time, I think every human being has like an online presence. No matter who you are or what you are on social media. It's just common sense. Unless you're like an old grandma that never had a cell phone, then maybe you're not on there. But still, most people in this day and age have a social media presence. So I remember I ended up searching her full name on Google. Basically, Google was like the go-to thing. I don't use the Yahoo, Bing, DuckGo. I don't use any of those because I'm not a loser. But going on, I searched the name up on Google, and when I searched it up, I ended up finding a link. I remember the link was like www.onlyfans.com/her first name and her last name. At this point, I was like, dude, there is no way. I got so excited. Like, you guys have actually no idea. It's like searching up on the Devil's Hub your favorite star and instant like levitation. So I remember I ended up clicking on the link, and when I did, I ended up seeing a photo of my teacher in our classroom with her top off as like the cover image. I was so in shock, and I remember her OnlyFans only cost like $5, and that was my lunch money for tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? I might as well. So I ended up paying for it, which is the only time I would ever pay for an OnlyFans, by the way. I'm just gonna mention that now. And when I did, I ended up seeing everything. And by everything, I mean my teacher on desks, my teacher on the whiteboard. I even saw my teacher literally bend over to the window. Yeah, I saw a lot of my teacher that day, and in the way that I would actually like to see her every day. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember my pants levitated, and obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up doing my my thing. YouTube, don't demonetize me, but I beat the eggplant. Okay, let's just put it that way. A little bit of a TMI, but it's whatever. Now, obviously, after I did that whole thing, most people would be like, you know, texting their friends about it and showing it off. But the one thing I got worried about is that I didn't want her not being my math teacher anymore. I was worried that if I like screenshotted it and sent it to my friends and showed it off, that I found our teacher absolutely wearing nothing on the internet, she might lose her job, her career, and basically everything. One thing you guys gotta understand is that in high school, word goes around faster than ever. Girls talk, and boys, they only talk when it's a real meme. So knowing this, I basically did not say anything. I kept it quiet. I didn't want to say anything. And I remember the next day when I went to school, I had to go to my math class early because the teacher wanted to give me the results I did from yesterday morning. I remember I ended up going in there. When I walked in there, I stood in front of my teacher's desk, and I couldn't look at her the same. Every time I looked at her, I literally just saw all those photos basically on the internet. I couldn't think of her as like my teacher anymore like I used to. And every time I look at her, well, I'd just be looking at her cherries and just kind of smiling. And I won't lie, yes, my pants did levitate in front of my teacher, okay? It was really awkward. I remember she looked at me and I looked at her, and basically we both looked at each other. She was really weirded out by me, and basically she was like, Bubba, is everything okay? Like, you seem really off, as she's marking my test. I look at her and I'm like, so that camera guy yesterday, he's not really a side gig, is he? She ended up looking at me with one eye, and she's like, wait, what? And I remember I looked at her with a smile. At that point, I knew she knew that I knew. Wait, that made no sense. I knew that she knew what I knew. Maybe that made more sense. Basically, she knew that I found out about her online internet thingy. And basically, I won't lie to you guys, guys, she was panicking in the inside. I could tell because every time I looked at her, she was kind of shaking as she was marking my test. And I definitely did fail that test, by the way, but no matter what, she ended up taking the test, putting it in the drawer, and told me that I got an A. I was really shocked. I'm like, wait, I got an A? Like I passed? She looks at me and she's like, yep, you passed. Good job. Can we have a different conversation? And she makes me sit down beside her. I sat down beside her and she's like, listen, Bubba, I think you know what I know. And I'm gonna be honest, we needed to keep it between each other. I like working at this school. I really enjoy here. And I don't want this to ruin our school relationship. I'm not gonna lie. The whole time when she said that, I was just looking at her cherries, bro. Like I could not think of her the same. So I remember I told her, okay, you know what? Like I'm fine with that. I really don't mind. I won't say anything at all. I told her that because, well, that was my original plan. I wasn't gonna tell anyone anyway because I didn't want her not being my teacher anymore. So I remember when the bell rang from math class, a bunch of students ended up walking in. And when a bunch of students ended up walking in, I basically like went and sat down at my desk. When I sat down at my desk, basically, I remember this was the funniest thing. And I'm not gonna lie, this was not good at all. I ended up going on my phone to use it for a calculator because I remember she was giving the lesson. And I had a friend whose desk was literally right behind mine. And when I opened my phone, the first thing it went to was her moaning in a video that I was watching her from. And oh my goodness, dude, my friend ended up looking at my phone and legit saw the teacher literally doing her devil's tango in the classroom on my phone as she was literally right in front of us actually teaching us a lesson. My friend in the back seat ended up freaking out saying, no way, is that her OnlyFans? Dude, what? Wait, ma'am, you have an OnlyFans? Oh no, I was so doomed. I was doomed. I was so sad and so upset at myself. And my teacher looked at me with major anger in her eyes. Like I've never seen anyone so mad at me. It was so bad. Honestly, all I'm gonna say is that, you know, watch out what you watch on your phone, and searching up your teachers sometimes maybe not a bad idea. It really depends on what results you want to get. Okay, bro, there is literally no way this is actually happening. But at the same time, knowing this has happened to me is honestly really sad. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because it seriously means a lot. And also, if you guys do enjoy the story so much, make sure you guys join me live on Kick. I'll be streaming on there, and also I'll be doing a lot of crazy stuff with me and my friends. So make sure you guys go on there as well if you want to hear stories basically live in front of you guys on kick.com/Bubba. Other than that, let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another, well, honestly, kind of depressing story. Now, I have nothing against OnlyFans girls. I get it. OnlyFans is a big thing that many girls are getting into. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If I was a girl, I'd maybe get into it. I don't know. It really would depend on my morals and who I really want to be. But I guess the easy way out nowadays in this generation for people, or especially girls, to make money is OnlyFans. And I'm not gonna lie. I knew about OnlyFans, and I remember after I graduated high school, a lot of girls in my school that I graduated with have an OnlyFans. Actually, one of them I think is hanging out with Young Gravy nowadays. Like, honestly, it's actually mind-blowing. But I remember back when I was in high school, a lot of girls that were in my school all really didn't like the idea of OnlyFans. Like, it got to the point where they were so against it, they made a trait and a promise to themselves that they would never start one. And they would also make jokes about if they started one, how silly it would be. Like, for example, they would say things like, oh, like, if I started one, like, I don't think my body's worth $13.99. Oh my goodness, literally, like, who would sell themselves like that? I might as well be a prostitute. They would say crazy things like that, and honestly, it made me think that, you know, maybe a lot of people weren't gonna get into it. But it wasn't until after high school where things really, well, flipped. I remember it was my second year of being out of high school, and I was turning 20. And I had a lot of friends that I still kind of hung out with in high school, well, somewhat, I would say. Around this time, I was so focused on making videos and stories that I didn't really focus on, well, people IRL. But basically, I remember one time, though, I was on Instagram, and my Instagram started, you know, gaining followers because of these crazy stories I would post. And actually, funny enough, if you guys haven't followed my Instagram already, I highly advise you guys go do it because a lot of updates go on there. But sorry, going on like I was saying, though, I remember basically what ended up happening was I ended up getting a new follower on Instagram, except it wasn't no ordinary follower. Not that any of you guys are ordinary followers, but this certain person that followed me was honestly insane, because this was literally one of the hottest girls in our high school that always, and I mean always, made fun of OnlyFans. Like, she would always, like, despite them, make fun of them, and basically said that if you're an OnlyFans person, you were literally worth nothing. So me, I remember I ended up going on her Instagram page, and everything seemed normal. There wasn't any, you know, crazy bikini photos. There wasn't anything over the top. It seemed very, well, simple. So I remember what ended up happening was I ended up basically, you know, going into her DMs, you know, Bubba sliding into the DMs like usual. And I said, hey, when I messaged her, I remember she was actually in shock. She was actually amazed that, you know, a celebrity, I'm putting that in quotations because I don't think I'm a celebrity in any way, but basically, she was amazed that I reached out to her and basically said hey to her, which I mean, fair enough. Like what kind of person wouldn't DM the hottest girl in their high school? Oh, wait, literally everyone would. I don't know why she was so surprised about me DMing her, but basically, when I said hey, she ended up messaging me back saying, oh my goodness, like, Bubba, like, how are you doing? Do you remember me from high school? Yeah, I remember you. Of course I remember you. She was the hottest girl in our high school, but I wasn't gonna tell her that. And then I remember she ended up telling me, oh, like, here, like, add my number. And then she ended up literally instantly sending me her number, and me and her started FaceTiming each other. We were FaceTiming left and right, day after day, to the point where, I'm not gonna lie, I actually started falling for this girl. She was actually kind of amazing, and knowing she was the hottest girl in my high school, it was kind of a flex to be talking to her. Because remember, back in high school, yes, I did a lot of the Devil's Tango, but I would never actually, how do I put this? Be managing to pull the hottest girls in our high school. And by the way, if my voice sounds in any way really raspy, I just want to say that I'm losing my voice from yelling all the time on stream on Kick, so please excuse it. But anyways, going on with the story, I remember me and her, we started like, communicating a lot more than I expected. And it got to the point where actually me and her, we actually went out on a couple dates. But every time we'd go out on a date, I remember every time I asked her like what she did for work, she would never really give me a straight answer. She would always say things like, oh, like I kind of just make content. Oh, I like model, I guess. And she always sounded really vague about what she was actually doing with her career. So then I remember I asked her, oh, like, are you like taking a, nursing course? Because I remember back in high school, she would always talk about being a nurse, or at least that's what her parents wanted her to be, I guess. But basically she ended up telling me afterwards, oh, like, no, I'm like doing my own, like, kind of like self-employed kind of thing. At this point, I was confused. I didn't know what she was doing, nor was she ever explaining. And before anyone says anything, no, I did not know she had an OnlyFans at this time, because to be honest, she would really keep it vague with me. And also every time I would ask her about like, work, she'd never give me a straight answer, like I said earlier. So for me, like, every time I would go see her, hang out with her, she would always just be packing a load of money. And no, also, I'm gonna mention this as well, none of her OnlyFans links or nothing like that was ever posted on her Instagram. So me being the dumb guy I kind of just ignored it. And I want to say like later in the month, me and her, we were actually debating on getting together. But later in the month, I remember one time, me and her, I decided to take her to like my friend group and basically all my IRL friends. And I remember me and them, we all like hung out together at a house party that we all went to. And when we went there, I remember when I brought this girl with me, everyone, and I mean everyone at the party was looking. I had no idea why, and don't get me wrong, she was the most hottest girl there, but still, I had no idea why everyone was just staring her down. Until I remember halfway through the party, we were all drinking and stuff, and my buddy said, yo, like, Bubba, can you come over here real quick? I ended up walking up to him saying, yeah, like, what's going on, dude? Me being kind of tipsy. And then he ended up saying, yo, bro, I just gotta ask, how'd you pull her? I remember I looked at him and I'm like, you mean my girl? What do you mean? Like, how did I pull her? And then he ended up saying, oh, like, do you like usually work with like OnlyFans girls? Wait, what is what I said? At that point, I was confused. I thought he was probably trolling me. And also, like I said, I was a little tipsy. So I was hoping this was all like a joke or something. But then afterwards, I remember it was super awkward because he ended up saying afterwards, nah, dude, like, you know who that girl is, right? Like, bro, like, you're literally dating like the girl. And then he ended up saying a stage name that I'm not going to say because I don't want to give her clout in any way. But he ended up saying a stage name that was really, well, sparkly. I'll say that much. I remember I was super confused and just like kind of curious of what he was talking about until he ended up pulling up Reddit. And well, let's just say every piece of that girl's body was on Reddit. Now at this point, I'm like, holy cow. And the weirdest part was that as me and her were talking, there was a lot of videos posted from that like time when me and her started talking, right? And all of them were like, BBC, all this stuff that was, well, let's just say a lot of the Devil's Tango. And like, don't get me wrong, I do a lot of the Devil's Tango. But seeing a girl get ran through like Mia Khalifa was just mind-boggling to me. So I remember after seeing that and me also being a little tipsy, I was really grossed out. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like ashamed of myself. I wish I knew. I wish I didn't put it aside from my brain and just actually focused on the situation when I had the chance to ask her. So me being the tipsy guy I ended up walking up to her in the middle of the party saying, you have an OnlyFans. She looked at me and she's like, okay, wait, who told you? And then that's when like 3 other guys ended up clapping and basically laughing because they all knew it was true. And it got to the point where everyone just started pulling up her photos at the party and she ended up running out of there embarrassed. I remember I felt bad, so I remember I went out of the party and actually left and basically just decided to sit beside her and talk to her. I told her, hey, listen, I get it, I really like you as a person, but me personally, I could never date an OnlyFans girl. And then she asked me why and stuff, and I said, well, because I personally don't want my girls valued by a number. She kind of took it to heart, but at the same time, she understood because back in high school, she even mentioned herself the same exact things. sucks. But hey, what can I say? I guess people change for, I guess, the better, the worst. I don't know. At the end of the day, content is content. A job's a job. I don't know. I guess for everyone, it's different. But anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also join me live on Kick streaming right now. Anyways, like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.